Hello everyone, this is CJ with Cycletron. Well, as the title promised, I will tell you the truth about Harley Davidson motorcycles. Now, a few months back I did a video about how Harley Davidson Motor Company can F off. Some people misunderstood that video to the extent that I wasn't criticizing the motorcycles themselves or the riders of Harley Davidson motorcycles. I'm one of them. As you can see, I'm riding my Roadster. Recently sold my Street Glide Special due to lack of touring opportunities, but I love a variety of motorcycles. But it was clear to me from the comments that some people simply just don't get it about Harley Davidson motorcycles, and that's okay. But there are some fundamental reasons why people are so passionate about Harley Davidson motorcycles. You take this Roadster, for example. Still running the Evo engine, designed back in '87. Well, designed before that, but went into production in 1987. It's a raw Harley Davidson experience. In fact, you'll hear some people say Harley Davidson, born 1903, died 1999. And I suppose they're referencing the change from the Evolution engine to the twin cam in 1999 for the Touring and Dyna models. And then, of course, later on to the Milwaukee 8 engine. Now, this bike is not my everyday rider, but I love this bike. Just like I love my son's 750 Virago 1982 that he's riding behind me. These bikes vibrate more, they make more sound. It's just a more raw experience, it's more engaging. What got me thinking about this topic was I read an article about the imminent demise of manual transmission cars and trucks for personal vehicles. It's been a long time in the making, but the article is talking about how it would be a shame because a manual transmission vehicle provides far more engagement to the driver, as anyone who rides a motorcycle already knows. Of course, there's more and more motorcycles coming equipped with DCT or automatic transmissions. People who ride scooters are already experienced with automatic transmissions. But the thing with Harleys too that I think some people are overlooking is in the beginning they were less reliable, and that generated a high level of engagement with the owner because they had to work on them all the time and they got to know the bike really well. Now people do that to a lesser extent just for customization purposes. The bikes are far more reliable. My 2019 Street Glide Special, I had about 10,000 miles on it, which was pretty low. That's why I ended up selling it. Just wasn't getting the use out of it that I wanted. Never had an issue with that bike. I think the biggest issue that some of the old school people have, I guess, and it's a fair criticism, is that it's just too refined, among other things. I mean, there's some early reliability issues with that bike, but so the question really becomes, how raw do you want your motorcycles? Like I said, it turns out that usually whatever bike I'm riding at the moment is my favorite motorcycle. That's just the way I am. I absolutely love this bike. My boys restored it. It was a wrecked salvage bike we got at Copart. They replaced all the broken bits and pieces and got it roadworthy again. And the bike runs great. I left the dented tank, I left the scratched up pipes, battle scars as it were. I think it makes this bike even more authentic than it already is. In that this bike's been through something and it's come out the other side to still be a reliable machine and a fun machine. But there's no question that as riders, as drivers of cars and trucks, we're becoming more and more insulated from our environment and our experience that we might have had with earlier versions of technology. I mean, were there Harley customers, Harley buyers, who seriously expected Harley to freeze their design and production with the Evo design? No upgrades, no computer chips, no technology. I don't think that's realistic. But there's no question there's more and more vibration damping, quieter exhaust, more refined experience associated with the newer models, the newer air-cooled models. And of course, it's completely different with the liquid-cooled models. I think some people fail to appreciate the different types of riding experiences you can have with different types of motorcycles. Doesn't necessarily make one better or worse. Now, objectively, this bike has far less power, poorer handling, poorer braking than, say, my 2020 Katana. No question, but it's a different riding experience. You know, my son, at the time when he got the 750 Virago up and running, that was his starter street bike. And I knew, relative to today's bikes, it handled poorly, it braked poorly. It just wasn't a great bike to start out with, except he treated it with a great deal of respect, learned to threshold brake and not become reliant on ABS, but just by mashing your controls in a panic. So there's clearly generational differences. The old school Harley design is associated more with older people my age and older, and that's okay. I don't think it's exclusively true, but there are generational differences. For example, I wear an automatic watch, mechanical watch. It's because I like the design, I like the way it works, I like the way it feels. I could wear some plastic doodad or Apple Watch with far more functionality. It just kind of leaves me cold. It's sort of the thing you get with Honda Goldwings. Those are fantastic motorcycles. I've never owned one. I'm sure they're reliable, I'm sure they perform well, but to me they come across as just a little soulless. No knock on anybody who has one. I could see owning one, it's just not for me, really. You know, you hear people talk about the sewing machine-like manner of the engine. Well, they're fantastic engines. But as things become more and more refined, they become more and more a commodity, a consumer product that could be exchanged with just about any other consumer product. You use it with minimal engagement and you throw it away when you're done and get something else. Now, these Harleys are not throwaway bikes. I mean, this bike was totaled, and there was still value in buying it and restoring it and riding it again. You know, we talk about generational differences. I carry a pocket knife with me all the time. In fact, I had to take a relative to a federal building, and I forgot that they don't like it when you bring knives to their facility. Fortunately, they had a little vestibule there, so I managed to send her on her way before I had to go to the building. I just went back to the parking lot. Didn't run the gauntlet of their security. But, you know, I don't even think of a knife as a pocket knife as a weapon. It's a tool. I've carried a pocket knife since I was 8 years old. And I'm surprised. I have younger people who work for me, and they have some difficulties that they encounter in their work that could be solved if they have a knife on them. They say, do you have a pocket knife? No. I remember I had a guy one time that borrowed my knife and he gave it back to me after he had dropped it in some sand. It was all gritted up and it went and closed, and it's like, in my mind, he lost his man card for handing me my knife back in that condition. So I get it. I mean, it's sort of in some respects the same way with motorcycles. You know, there's people that understand and appreciate the more they appreciate the raw experience of riding a bike like this. It doesn't have cruise control. I got rid of that little thumb screw. I didn't think it was very safe, but this bike had a little thumb screw on the throttle cable to act as a cruise control. I ditched that. But it doesn't have ABS. Doesn't have traction control. Doesn't have a lot of things. But it's a blast to ride. So not everyone needs to be converted. I'm not trying to convert anyone, as a matter of fact. I'm just pointing out that Harleys aren't trash. The people who ride them aren't ill-informed. That, you know, they're not laboring under the misunderstanding that Harleys are the best quality, most refined motorcycles money can buy. That's not why they buy them. So let me know what you think in the comments section. I suppose it goes both ways too. There's people who ride Harleys and don't understand why someone would ride a Japanese sport bike. That's okay too. But there has to be more room for people to agree to disagree, as it were, in their choice of bikes. I don't understand the mentality that suggests that everyone should ride the same brand of motorcycle. If your choice is so correct and appropriate, wouldn't it be better to have that choice validated by a large number of people who buy something different? Or do those people seek affirmation that their choice was correct by seeing a sea of similar motorcycles from the same manufacturer on the roads? I don't know. Well, thanks for watching. Please let me know your comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and please stay tuned for future videos. Thanks very much.